I didn't know something could be wrong before it even existed, not when the doctor first smiled at us, not when my wife squeezed my hand with quiet hope, not even when the screen lit up and showed us what we thought was our miracle. No, the moment I knew something was truly wrong was when a trained doctor, a woman who had seen thousands of pregnancies, suddenly forgot how to speak. Her lips parted, her hand froze, and all the color drained from her face. Like she had just seen something she wasn't supposed to see, something no one was meant to see. That was the moment I realized this wasn't going to be a story about life. It was going to be a story about something pretending to be one, and by the time we understood the truth, it was already too late. Welcome to my YouTube channel Whisper Stories, where silence speaks. My name is Daniel, I'm 60 years old, and I used to believe that fear had a sound. A scream, a crash, a sudden, violent interruption that leaves no doubt something is wrong. But I was wrong. Real fear is silent. It shows itself in the way someone's face drains of color, in the way their hands tremble just slightly, in the way a room, perfectly ordinary just seconds before, suddenly feels like it's holding its breath. And the day my wife's doctor turned white after looking at her ultrasound was the day I learned just how loud silence can be. It started like any other appointment. That's the strange part. Nothing about that morning hinted at what was coming. The sky was clear, the kind of soft blue that feels harmless. My wife, Eleanor, sat beside me in the car, one hand resting on her belly, the other gently tapping against her thigh, a nervous habit she'd picked up over the past few weeks. We weren't young parents, not even close. At 60, I had already accepted that the chapter of raising children was behind me. Our son was grown, married, living his own life in another city. Eleanor and I had settled into the quiet rhythm of agging, morning tea, evening walks, long conversations about nothing in particular. And then she got pregnant. Even saying it still feels unreal. At first we thought it was a mistake, a late test, a faulty result, but the doctor confirmed it, then confirmed it again. It's rare, she had said with a polite smile, but not impossible. Rare. That word followed us everywhere after that. Rare pregnancy, rare risks, rare complications. But still a baby. A second chance at something we thought was gone forever. The clinic smelled faintly of antiseptic and lavender, a strange combination that tried too hard to be comforting. We checked in, waited, filled out forms that asked questions we had no business answering at our age. Eleanor squeezed my hand when her name was called. Everything going to be fine, I told her. I believed it when I said it. I had no reason not to. The ultrasound room was dim, lit only by the glow of the monitor. Dr. Hargrove had always been calm, steady, the kind of person you trust immediately because nothing about her ever seems rushed or uncertain. She greeted us with that same professional warmth. Let's take a look, she said. Eleanor lay back, the gel was cold. She flinched slightly, then smiled at me as if to say she was okay. I stood beside her, holding her hand. The machine hummed softly as the image flickered to life. At first, it looked normal, at least as normal as something like that can look to someone like me. Shades of grey, shifting shapes, movements I couldn't quite understand. Dr. Hargrove leaned closer to the screen. Her expression changed. It wasn't immediate, it wasn't dramatic. It was subtle, but I saw it. A tightening around her eyes, a slight pause in her hand. She adjusted the probe. Silence. Too much silence. Is everything okay? Eleanor asked, her voice light but uncertain. Dr. Hargrove didn't answer right away. She kept staring at the screen. And then it happened. Her face went white. Not pale. Not concerned. White, like every drop of blood had drained from her body in an instant. I felt Eleanor's hand grip mine tighter. Doctor, I said. Still nothing. Dr. Hargrove swallowed hard, her throat moving visibly. She took a step back from the monitor as if it had burned her. I need to run this again, she said, her voice suddenly thin. She turned the screen slightly away from us. That's when the fear started. Minutes passed, but they felt like hours. The machine beeped softly. The gel cooled against Eleanor's skin. The room felt colder somehow. Dr. Hargrove called for another technician. They whispered to each other, too quietly for us to hear, but not quietly enough to hide the tension. I watched their faces, the way they avoided eye contact, the way their movements became careful, deliberate, almost afraid. "Please," Eleanor said, her voice trembling now, "just tell me what's wrong." Dr. Hargrove looked at her, and for the first time since we had met her, she looked scared, not uncertain, not concerned. Scared. "I need to ask you something," she said slowly. Her voice had changed. There was something in it now, something heavy. "Something wrong." "What is it?" I asked. She hesitated. Then she said the words that would haunt me for the rest of my life. "Whatever happens after today, you cannot tell anyone about this." The room went completely still. I thought I had misheard her. "What?" I said. "You heard me," she replied, her eyes locked on mine. "You cannot tell anyone, not family, not friends, no one." "That's ridiculous," I said, a nervous laugh escaping me. "What kind of?" "I'm serious," she interrupted. Her voice cracked slightly. This isn't normal." Eleanor sat up slightly, wincing. "What isn't normal?" she whispered. Dr. Hargrove turned the screen back toward us. "I need you to look," she said. I wish I hadn't. God, I wish I hadn't. At first, I didn't understand what I was seeing. It looked like any other ultrasound image. But then, I noticed the shape, the movement, the alignment. There was something inside Eleanor's womb. But it wasn't positioned the way it should have been. It wasn't curled. It wasn't floating gently like I had seen in pictures before. It was still, too still. And then it moved. Not slowly. Not naturally. It jerked. Sharp, sudden, controlled. Like something reacting, not developing. "What is that?" I asked, my voice barely audible. Dr. Hargrove didn't answer. Eleanor gasped. "I don't understand," she said. That's the baby, right?" The doctor closed her eyes for a brief moment. When she opened them again, there was something different in them. Something heavier. "I don't think so," she said. The words didn't make sense. They couldn't. "What do you mean you don't think so?" I demanded. "You confirmed the pregnancy, you said." "I know what I said," she snapped, then immediately softened. "I'm sorry, I just..." She looked back at the screen. "I've never seen anything like this before." The technician stepped back, clearly uncomfortable. "What are you saying?" Eleanor asked, tears forming in her eyes. "Is something wrong with the baby?" Dr. Hargrove hesitated again. Then she said something I will never forget. "There's a heartbeat," she said, "but it doesn't match the movement." I felt my chest tighten. "What does that even mean?" I asked. She pointed to the screen. "The rhythm, it's there, strong, steady, but the movement we're seeing, it's not synchronized, it's independent." "Independent," Eleanor repeated. "Yes." Silence. Heavy, suffocating silence. "It's like," Dr. Hargrove struggled for words, "it's like there are two things happening in the same place, but they're not connected." Eleanor started crying. Soft at first, then harder. "This doesn't make any sense," she sobbed. "Please just tell me what's happening." Dr. Hargrove stepped closer. "There are a few possibilities," she said carefully, "none of them good." I felt anger rise in my chest. "Then say it clearly," I said. "Stop talking in riddles." She looked at me. And for a moment, I saw something in her expression that chilled me to the bone. Doubt. Not medical uncertainty. Something deeper. Something instinctual. "I think," she said slowly, "that whatever is inside your wife isn't developing the way a human should." The room felt like it tilted. Eleanor shook her head violently. No, that's not possible. It's a baby. It has to be." Dr. Hargrove didn't respond. Because she didn't believe that anymore. And deep down, neither did I. What do we do? I asked. That was the question that mattered. The only one that mattered. Dr. Hargrove took a deep breath. Then she said something that made everything worse. You need to decide quickly. Decide what? She looked at Eleanor. Then back at me. Whether you want to continue this pregnancy or end it immediately. Eleanor froze. I felt her hand go cold in mine. End it, she whispered. Yes. No, she said instantly. No, I can't. You don't understand, Dr. Hargrove said urgently. If this continues, I don't know what will happen. To you, to it, to. She stopped herself. To what? I pressed. She didn't answer. And somehow, that was worse. We left the clinic in silence. No words. No explanations. Just a weight sitting between us. Eleanor stared out the window the entire drive home. I kept replaying the image in my mind. That movement. That unnatural, jerking motion. That thing. Inside her. That night neither of us slept. At around 2 a.m., Eleanor finally spoke. I felt it move, she whispered. I turned toward her. What? Inside me, she said, but not like before, not gentle. I sat up. How did it feel? She hesitated, then said something that made my blood run cold. Like it knew I was awake. The days that followed were worse. The movements became stronger. More deliberate. Eleanor started having dreams. Not normal dreams. The same one every night. There's something watching me, she said one morning, her voice hollow, from inside. We went back to the doctor. But Dr. Hargrove wasn't there. We were told she had taken leave. Suddenly, no explanation. That's when I realized something. This wasn't just fear. This was something else. Something no one wanted to explain. Something no one wanted to face. A week later, Eleanor collapsed. We rushed her to the hospital. And as they wheeled her away, she grabbed my hand and whispered, "It's not a baby, Daniel." Her eyes filled with tears. "It's waiting." I never saw her alive again. The official report said complications. Rare pregnancy failure. Internal rupture. Words that sound clinical. Clean. Safe. But they don't tell the truth. Because when I was allowed to see her body, her stomach was flat. Completely flat. As if nothing had ever been there. No child. No trace. Nothing. And sometimes, late at night, when the house is quiet, I still hear something. A faint sound. Not a cry. Not a voice. Just movement. So if you take anything from my story, let it be this. Not everything that looks like a blessing is one. Not everything that grows inside you is meant to be born. And sometimes, the most terrifying things in life don't arrive from the outside. They begin within.